Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday number 92. Fear is our biggest challenge. Question. As the threat of contacting the virus has been real, people react differently. Some don't leave their house, while others are happy to socialize without much concern. Others are somewhere in between, respecting the social rules, yet not fearing much. Now that vaccines are becoming available, different decisions are being considered. I feel that fear is running most people, but I don't understand why it's playing out this way. What is the yoga perspective? All right, so the yoga perspective of what we're dealing with here in terms of what you're calling fear and people reacting differently and making different decisions and compiling or getting whatever information they have and then making decisions based on that information. The yoga perspective is that everything out there in the so-called relative world is really a reflection of something you need to see inside yourself. So the reflection is not so much the objects as much as how those objects or people or situations, the interpretation you make around your ego. Your ego makes an interpretation. So it's all about you and how do you react to the world. So the yoga perspective is knowing that everything out there is a show. Nothing is permanent. Everything's always undergoing change. So we don't take anything as real. We know it's undergoing change, so it can't be real. Now, you talked about fear. Well, the thing that I would say about that is that it's really a personal journey, all of it is. And whatever situation you're in and whatever decisions you have to make based on those situations, it's a cause and effect type of thing. Whatever decision you make, there's going to be a result for that decision. And if you are fully informed, and even if you are fully informed on the outside, are you fully informed on the inside? That's another thing to consider. So most people are just saying, okay, well, I want to get as much information as I can before I make a decision. And then you're saying that it's, there's fear kind of underneath the whole thing. Well, there's fear underneath everything. Not just this, but I feel that perhaps this time is a time where it's exaggerated. So it's an opportunity for people to see how they react to the virus and how it's showing up, and then they react to the vaccine and the masks. And how are you reacting to what's being presented to you? So it's really an individual, personal journey and decision that you have to make. I think the greatest fear, even though they say the greatest fear is death, the fear of death, yes, I would say the fear of death because the ego does not want to die. It's doing its best to stay alive and to do all the right things. But inside of that is the fear of what will others think of me. What if I do something that others don't think is appropriate or is not the social correct thing to do, especially under these circumstances when there's a lot more rules to abide by? Now, anybody who's a little bit out of alignment, they might have their superego attack them and say, oh, shouldn't go out of alignment. Make sure that I am in alignment with what everybody else thinks is the right thing to do. Yeah, I would say fear is underneath all of that. It's not an easy thing to navigate fear at this time. Um, for instance, like when we first heard about the virus, we heard that it could kill people. So fear is like all of a sudden there's something to be afraid of. So we hear about it, and then we do our own negotiations on the inside about how to handle that. And we say, okay, well, it's not too close to home, so I'm okay. But soon as it comes into our vicinity, and then the threat comes really, really close, then the fear of death, it may affect maybe family members. Then we're starting to feel the fear a little more intensely. But it's not so bad. But once it hits your own body, and you might get the disease, or you might fall sick, or there's a threat for dying, then the fear of death becomes louder. And we're always feeling this fear of death, but mostly it's coming in the form of, what will others think of me? So if there's anything at all, I would really just consider that. What would you do if you didn't have others in your head? What would you do for your health and your well-being? And you were informed a certain way. What would you consider to be the right thing to do if you did not have to consider what others think of you? That would probably it would probably turn out very differently. So the yoga perspective is, this is where we're challenged. We are challenged on the level of, how is fear running me right now by what I hear from the outside? And what is being threatened? My ego sense of what? My physical body or my identity, my idea of myself? How do others see me? This is a big consideration. And I think all the rest is just sort of an exaggeration of that. The fear of the virus, the fear of the vaccine, and what decisions I should make, and what's right, what's wrong, and so many decisions. But our work as yogis is to bring our attention to that which is free of fear. And what is free of fear? Entering into the state of oneness. In oneness is love. And with love, we connect. We don't worry about what others think of us. The opposite happens. We give love and share love and understand and have compassion. So yeah, facing the demon is this thing called fear. But now I think it's coming up more in the form of, what will others think of me? So that's just something to consider. Our greatest challenge is fear. What will others think of me? Okay, that's it for today's Wisdom Wednesday. Bye for now.